And here we are again. Another wonderful, wonderful, wonderful afternoon here in St. Louis, Missouri. You're talking winter with Swinter. My name's Ken Bogeman. Got Brent Reeder, Jason Dungan.
Hello.
The dynamic trio. I don't know, maybe something like that. Hanging out here. Wait for it. There it is. Love it. Love it, love it, love it. Where are we at now? We're at Tuesday, and it's still March.
It's still March.
Like 70 degrees out.
And it's still raining.
Yeah, it's awful. Has anybody done the math on how much snow we would have had if all of the rain over winter would have been snow?
Oh, we would have broke records.
A lot.
I mean, I haven't done that.
Well, at one point they said on that one individual storm, if it had been 3 degrees colder, we'd have had, a foot and a half of snow.
Oh, yeah. It would have been a lot.
And it should have been snow. It shouldn't have been rain.
That would have been so much cooler.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, whatever. But you know what? That's fine. You know what? You know what that does? That leaves us here appreciating the good years.
The guys in the Northeast are like, man, these guys complain about snow a lot. We're up here getting 50, 60 inches. And
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, okay, so our market isn't a 50-inch market by any stretch of the imagination. But even then, I mean, any time you get, less than a quarter of what your average is, that stinks.
Yeah.
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 Not only less than a quarter of what your average is, but less than a quarter of what everybody said you were going to get.
Yeah, okay, that's true too.
Yeah.
You know what that makes it hard to do? Buy equipment.
Yeah.
Sure does. Because you're finding yourself, okay, do we buy equipment? Do we not buy equipment? What do we do? What do we not do?
Unless you're in the market for used equipment, because I bet there's going to be a lot of that this year.
Well, that's exactly the thing. So if you're getting your stuff all fired up for the spring and summer seasons and wondering, man, maybe I ought to buy a little snow equipment. Well, this would be a pretty good time to start looking at that.
Yep.
Yeah, probably.
People that are selling equipment right now are, if they're selling it right now, then, they may want to just cash out of that. They don't need it anymore. And, well, it's early enough in the year. It's not like, if you buy it now, well, you're going to save them all the storage costs and, maintenance and whatnot between now and next winter. So you might be able to get a better deal on it. The question is, what can you afford to buy? And what can you afford not to buy when it comes right down to it? I mean, that's I don't know, that's what we're going to talk about. Man.
Yeah.
We're 3 minutes in and already telling people what we're going to talk about.
You already segued.
This feels this. Did we? I think we lost your mic. I think your mic is unplugged. Try your plug. You got to give it just the right Jimmy. I think you're there. Try it now.
Check 1, 2.
There you go.
That's much better.
Oh yeah, I can hear you.
I was asking if that was a record segue.
I think so.
Might be.
I feel like we should maybe waste some more time. Say something funny, quick.
I'm not good off the cuff.
I'm not sure the funny things I have to say are appropriate for this.
They definitely are not.
Oh, something about a joke about DNA. No, we'd probably save that.
We'll
it's
save
bad.
that one.
It's probably bad. I won't do that.
That was good.
It was a good joke, but probably not good for, the younger listeners in the crowd. So children, be careful.
Lots of children listening to this show.
You never know. You know what's funny about that is we actually, speaking of that, we've got we're up to now 8 followers on the Twitters. So if you want to be number 9, you should follow us at Swinter Snow Talk on Twitter, because number 15 is going to get some free stuff. It's going to be good. Actually, maybe we ought to just send free stuff to everybody between 8 and 15.
There you go.
Actually, now that I think about that, if you were waiting, because like you're checking in every day because you're like, man, I don't want to follow them today because I don't get anything free until 15. That's it. We're going to send everybody on the first 15 is going to get something free. We'll figure out how to figure that out.
Cool.
Yeah, we'll amend that a little bit.
But it's not promising what it is.
Well, yeah, I don't know what it's going to be yet. What do you think it ought to be? A gift card to something.
No idea.
I don't know, whatever. We'll figure it out.
I've got a dirty coffee cup.
Man, we lost your mic again. That's so weird. I don't know what's happening.
What a cheap show.
Man, I tell you what. Hello?
Nope.
Nope, not there. I didn't push a button. All right.
Do we just kill off Jason?
He's a goner.
That was fast.
He's a goner.
There he is.
Is it back? It's
Yeah,
back.
It's back.
Oh.
Yeah.
Don't
Do we figure out what it is?
touch it.
I don't know. I haven't touched it since the last time.
Don't touch nothing. All right. All right, now we've wasted 5 minutes. I think we can get at it now, right? We're more.
I forgot what we're talking about.
Whether or not to buy stuff.
Oh, always.
Always
Spending
buy.
money is fun.
Spending money is fun. But
I gotta laugh somewhere.
did Nicole laugh at you?
I think she did.
She's eating.
Yeah.
Man, you're gonna kill my wife. You're gonna choke. So no, man. So okay. So really, so looking at investing in equipment, right? So there are so many different schools of thoughts on what it actually means to invest in equipment, right? So does that mean is an investment in equipment? You spend $5,000 on something this year, and you're gonna have it paid off and triple your money in the first year. Right? Or is it, no, you're going to buy something and you're going to amortize that over 5 or 7 or 10 years and you're going to reap the benefits along the way. I mean, how you look at your own equipment purchase is really kind of how you want to run your business. But at the same time, what it really boils down to is, can you actually buy it? Do you have the cash? Do you have the credit? Do you have the bartering power? However it is that you're going to acquire that equipment, that has to be the first consideration, right?
Yep. Agreed.
Yeah. So, so if you think, I've got a truck, it's got a plow on it, I'd like to add a spreader. Okay. Well, if you can't actually pay for that spreader, well, now that's a barrier to entry. That certainly makes it tough, right?
Yep.
So, okay. So that being obvious, think about what that actually means. So you need a spreader, right? But you've only got $1,000, or you've only got $500, or you've only got $200. You are probably better served to not go get a giant hunk of garbage and to just save your money, figure out a way to get something that's going to not be a huge problem, right? So, we're actually in a spot here where we've got 3 or 4 trucks that they're out there, they're paid for. They did, and they're ready to go. They got equipment on them, and we just don't use them very much. So the thought process is, well, it doesn't cost us anything. They were paid for. Well, but here's the problem with that. That equipment might be paid for, but you know what you still got to do? You still got to maintain it.
Yep.
If you're in a state where you're paying personal property taxes, you got to pay personal property taxes. You got to insure them.
Yep.
And
you got to store them.
You got to store them. Yeah. You got to maintain them. You got to make sure that they actually work when you need them to, because nothing is more frustrating than that piece of equipment that you've got just in case, and then you need it, and the damn thing doesn't work.
Well, nobody saves a brand new piece of equipment for the backup.
Right. Well,
I mean,
you know what?
Most people don't.
I bet somebody does.
Possibly.
Man, how cool would that be?
Yeah.
I don't know.
If it's brand new, it seems like it needs to be working.
It would be nice to have that sort of capability to say, it's brand new. Let's just keep this one to the side for now.
Yeah. Well, since none of us are in that boat, we might as well just move on. But yeah, so here are some things to think about when, should you buy a piece of equipment or should you not? Insurance. Do you have to insure it? Do you not have to insure it? Is it going to cost you anything sitting there? So, which is then, like we said, personal property tax, and then look at the maintenance costs. I mean, actually really think about, what is this thing going to cost you to keep around? So do the math on that. Insurance, maintenance, personal property tax. Are you going to have to, is it a truck? Do you have to license it? Do you have any, what other types of fees or costs do you have that are associated with that piece of equipment? And then figure out how much you think that thing's going to work, right? So is that piece of equipment going to work every storm? Is it a backup? What is that? And then at that point you could figure out, okay, get to some kind of hourly number, right? So, okay, this, in a decent year, average year, this piece of equipment is going to work for 30 hours, 50 hours, 200 hours, whatever that number is, and then figure out what your cost per hour is to own that piece of equipment. And then you could make a much better decision on whether or not you ought to keep it.
Yeah.
Or buy it in the first place.
Exactly right.
I think a lot of guys, though, outside of a plow or spreader, trucks and skid steers have a year-round use.
Right.
So it's a lot easier for them to go, well, if I had another truck, I can add another crew and I can do this, 12 months a year. You don't have to do a lot of math to figure out that's good business if you have the money. Right.
Well, and that's when you get into the world of, okay, is this something that you buy just for your snow operation, or is it something you can use year round? So yeah. So when you're looking at snow equipment specifically, that's something to look at.
Yep.
Man, this is riveting.
It is riveting.
I ran into a sub yesterday out
Did you kill him?
No, I ran
You make it?
near him, I guess. And I was talking to him. I was asking him, I was like, "So what are you gonna do next year? You gonna bring on some more equipment?" And he's like, "Actually, yeah, we're buying 2 more trucks." I'm like, "Wow, really? You gonna outfit him like that last one?" The last truck he outfitted was like an F450, fully decked out. I think he spent about $120,000 by the time that one truck
Wow.
was set up. He's like, "No, that's my baby." I'm buying the rest of these a lot cheaper.
Nice.
And I'm like, yeah, that's fair. You don't want to put that much money out there for just the next guy to run into a building with.
Right. Well, and I mean, stuff gets broke, no doubt. Yeah, but
Yeah.
on the exact same token, I was talking to another guy that was going to work with us this last year. Wound up not working with us, and he's selling every single piece of equipment that he's got. He's like, I just don't have time for snow. Can't justify holding on to it, so he wants to just sell all of his stuff off. So it's something where, if you can catch that at the right time, you're going to be able to find yourself some pretty good stuff.
Yeah, he's picking a bad year to sell that all too.
Yeah, the market's going to be a little flooded this year.
Yeah. The question to me was, did we want to buy it from him? And I was like, no. I think we're going to be okay on used equipment for this year.
Yeah, it's definitely. We've got a lot sit out in there.
Right. So yep. But here's something to think about too, though, is if you're trying to grow, right? Now the question is, okay, can you afford not to buy that piece of equipment? Because you can't do more work if you don't have the equipment, right?
True.
So that's where it's kind of tough, because you got to play that balancing game between it's going to cost you X amount of dollars to sit there, whether it works or not. And then, how do you do that projection on whether or not you're going to make any money on it?
Yeah, and I think we kind of saw a lot of that this past fall with new equipment orders. We stayed really busy with those installs, and then the winter kind of didn't pan out the way we wanted it to.
Yep.
And so that it goes right to the point that you were just making about, do I want to make this investment to grow my business? Well, of course you do. You want to, but can you?
There's a question. So when we sell, I know in the past we've sold, used equipment, right? Mm-hmm. And so the used equipment is generally less expensive. And if you have a year where you don't have as much work, right? You sell that used equipment. Come springtime, you get those phone calls. Hey, you guys want to buy this stuff back, right? Yeah. And you know what? You don't see that with new equipment. It's
you're right. We don't.
And I think that speaks to how people are paying for stuff. So,
yeah,
I think that if you're looking at, if you look at an equipment purchase as as not a right now kind of investment, but okay, you're going to average this cost over the next 4 or 5 or 6 or 10 years. So if you take that, $5,000 piece of equipment and you figure, okay, you're going to amortize it over 5 years. Well, now your cost is $1,000. Okay. Well, that's a lot easier to overcome and be successful with than it is if you buy that $5,000 piece of equipment and go, God, I got to make this back by springtime or I'm screwed.
Yeah.
That's really hairy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So a lot of times that
the fickle nature of winters, especially here in the Midwest.
Right.
Boy, that's a tough gamble.
That's got to be a tough one, even if you're in some snow market that's guaranteed to have big winters. I mean, it just doesn't make much sense to me to have to pay off that equipment that season or else.
Well, I think so, but that's where I think guys get really concerned with, you get into, you're coming out of the mowing season, for example, right? And you've done well over the summer. You're doing okay. You know what you need to get through winter, and you've got 5,000 or 6,000 extra bucks hanging out. And you're like, man, I'm gonna go into snow. I'm gonna go pull that off. And so you take that quote unquote extra money, and you spend it on snow equipment, right? And then it doesn't snow. Well, now you find yourself regretting that decision and wanting, well, gosh, what if I just cash out of this because that didn't pan out? It's very short term, and I think that snow it's just a long game. You have to look at things year after year after year. You on the flip side of that coin is somebody that gets into snow, and we've had a couple of these guys too that we've worked with that get in, and man, that first year they just kill it. Make money hand over fist, don't know what to do with themselves, right? And then so the next year they're just kind of expecting that and get goose egged. Well, now all of a sudden, because you've been spoiled, Now on the backside, it's like, well, crap. You know,
Yeah.
like Brent, your daughter that shot the like 97.7 thousand pound buck for her first deer.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, she's never going to top
Everyone
that.
after that's going to be a
No,
letdown.
but she did follow it up with a very nice one that I'm still kind of irritated at.
Oh, yeah, that's fair.
I mean, no, she's ruined for the rest of her life.
Right.
I mean,
So,
it's not a world class buck, but for the area that we hunt in,
oh, yeah.
it was too nice for her first deer.
Yeah. And, I think it's that setting the expectation thing is a little tough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Setting an expectation is actually a good thing as long as that expectation is a reasonable expectation. And I think that's kind of where you're going with this. Is sometimes these unreasonable expectations, they may sound really good, may even look good on paper, but when you put that thought back into it, like we were just talking about, trying to make that money back in the same winter on some equipment that you purchased, that might not be a reasonable expectation to set.
No, that's true. It's very true. So, setting reasonable expectations.
Yep.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Yep. I think it's pretty fair to spread it out to at least 2 or 3 years
Yep.
on the low side.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Even if the equipment's going to last a lot longer, at least give yourself a buffer.
Yeah. Man, we got Coffee McCofferson over there. Just, making all kinds of noise and like we're recording over here.
I guess she doesn't realize we put that microphone over there by her.
Nice. Oh man, yep. Yeah, I mean, and that's and I think one of the hardest things, I probably should have led with this in this whole this whole topic, is that this is whether or not to buy something is so incredibly different from company to company and person to person, because there's so many different ways of looking at it. I mean, I guess I kind of touched on it a little bit, but it's really hard to give any really good definitive advice on that, because everything's so fluid and different.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you did mention a very good point about maybe not going after that spreader that's been sitting in somebody's backyard for 2 years.
Yeah, or anything that says dog at the end of the name.
Because maybe you do get a good deal on that, and maybe it, quote unquote, you see the air fingers here, quote, it works.
For now.
Till you get a load of salt in it.
Right.
And then it doesn't. And now you're kind of in a worse predicament. Maybe you thought you'd saving yourself the $3,000. Now you're in a worse predicament because now you can't service your accounts.
And you got all the liability from it.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Yeah.
I know the first 2 V boxes I bought, well used. They were all I could afford, and they were both bad ideas.
Yeah.
In hindsight, they both cost me a bunch of money to keep going, to get fixed. They looked okay today, but by the time it got to season, man, did they really show its ugly head and why they were being sold. And
Yeah.
it was everything I could do to get rid of them as fast as possible.
Yeah. And then get something that's not going to leave you high and dry.
Oh, yeah.
Was that the one didn't you have one catch on fire?
Yes.
That's fun.
It was not one of these.
Oh, okay.
That was the next round of spreaders.
You stepped up from not working to working really
I
well.
stepped up from mild steel and holes in every panel to stainless steel, but the engines were a little rough.
A little rough.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah. Fire, snow. Yeah.
I bet it looked really cool.
I don't know. I wasn't there to see it.
You know how many people have no idea who Beavis and Butthead is anymore?
Oh, really?
Yeah, I just heard your
Yeah.
Beavis quote there. Yeah.
Fire.
Man.
Oh, that was right over my head.
You
I know who they are, but
Oh.
yeah.
Oh, yeah. Mike Judge and all of his genius.
Oh, my God.
Paved the way for all the shows we now have.
Yep.
Yep.
It's been rebooted.
What?
Oh, yeah. Check out, you have Paramount Plus, right?
I think we I don't know. You know what? I'm going to say that I've seen Paramount Plus, but I'm not entirely sure I'm a subscriber.
Well, you've watched
It only takes 2 clicks.
1883 and 1923, right?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm not sure that we subscribe, but I'm also not going to say that we don't because I don't want to go to jail.
Yeah. So I'm getting the north south from the wife over there.
Oh, got it. We're good. Okay, fair. All right.
So just search it up.
All right.
It's been rebooted and just as good.
Awesome. Gotta love it. Well, you know what? On that note, I think we're going to call it for this one. So, yeah. Anything else you want to add real quick before
No, that's about it.
Yeah, right on.
Final advice: go spend $20 grand on a spreader. You'll not regret it.
20 may be a bit much, but
Oh, it'll be a good one.
that's true. Right on. Well, hey, thanks for listening. Again, Talking Winter with Swinner here. I'm Ken Bogeman, Brent Reeder. Who the hell are you?
I am Cornholio.
And Cornholio joining us. Woo! Man, all right. Have a great one, everybody. We'll see you. Bye.